After the war, hundreds of thousands of survivors found shelter as displaced persons in camps administered by the Western Allies in Germany, Austria, and Italy. In the U.S., immigration restrictions were still in effect, although the Truman Directive of 1945, which authorized priority to be given within the quota system to displaced persons, permitted 16,000 Jewish displaced persons to enter the U.S. immigration to Palestine, was very limited until the establishment of the State of Israel in May of 1948. After the establishment of Israel, around 140,000 Jewish refugees came into the new sovereign state. Between 1945 and 1952, the United States admitted 400,000 displaced persons. Approximately 96,000 of them were Jews who survived the Holocaust.
Anna Lowy talks about why she chose the United States over Palestine. She said, "Not because I don't love Palestine, but because I do love Palestine. But Palestine needs strong people to work and fight for her. And I am no longer strong, and I can fight no more. But I have one wish, to see Palestine just once."
The main reason more survivors chose to come to the United States over Palestine is because they had family in the United States. They felt that coming to the U.S. gave them the opportunity to resume their lives instead of breaking off family ties, because in most instances, the only family members that they still had alive were those who had fled to the United States before the war had begun. Another reason that many survivors chose the U.S. over Palestine is because they were already too worn out to take on the challenge of becoming pioneers. They knew from letters that life in Palestine wasn't easy. Another reason many survivors wanted to come to America was because of the size and diversity, as well as the separation of church and state, which gave them the promise of being able to fit in, and ultimately put the past behind them. A survivor by the name of Elie Wiesel talks about this in his novel called The Fifth Son. He talks about how he is glad that he waited for the American visa. He wrote that New York is the most extroverted city in the world.
The Secretary of State is directed to establish with the utmost dispatch consular facilities at or near displaced person and refugee assembly center areas in the American zones of occupation. It shall be the responsibility of these consular officers, in junction with the immigrant inspectors, to determine as quickly as possible the eligibility of the applicants for visas and administration to the United States. For this purpose, the Secretary will, if necessary, divert the personnel and funds of his department from other functions in order to ensure the most expeditious handling of this operation. In cooperation with the Attorney General, he shall appoint as temporary vice consuls authority to issue visas, such as officers of the Immigrant and Naturalization Services, as can be made available for this program. Within the limits of administrative discretion, the officers of the Department of State assigned to this program shall make every effort to simplify and to hasten the process of issuing visas. If necessary, blocks of visa numbers may be assigned to each of the emergency consular establishments. Each such block may be used to meet the applications filled at the consular establishment to which the block is assigned. It is not intended, however, to entirely exclude the issuance of visas in other parts of the world.